Young rat people. A bleak rebellion. In the heart of China's bustling megacities, beneath the glittering skylines, a new term is gaining grim familiarity. Lao Shuren, or rat people. It might sound like a joke, a mocking nickname, or a viral meme, but behind that seemingly harmless label lies a silent tragedy and a smoldering rebellion rising from society's forgotten depths. These rat people aren't quirky cartoon characters or crazed loners in hiding. They are young, unemployed, disillusioned souls who have given up on everything. They no longer chase dreams, no longer compete. Instead, they retreat from the outside world and vanish into tiny underground rooms, places with no sunlight, lit only by the faint glow of phone screens. They sleep by day and awaken at night like nocturnal scavengers. Food arrives via delivery apps. Their only lifeline to the outside world is a flickering Wi-Fi signal. And time passes in silence, aimless, numb, and unrelenting. A once methodical image has turned into a chilling reality. China once promised a dream of prosperity, but in truth, millions of young people now live like rats in the heart of its cities, forgotten, cast aside, and suffocated by the very dream they once believed in. A recent viral video captured a day in the life of a female rat person. The scene was anything but glamorous. She wakes up, if you can call it that, sometime around noon. Her first words are to her phone screen. She scrolls, swipes, maybe binge-watches some fantasy shows to numb the gnawing emptiness. Food? Delivery only? If she has the energy to get to the door. Showering is optional. The bed is both her command center and her prison. Sunlight? No thanks. It hurts her eyes. Another video shows a young man drifting through his day in a near catatonic state, gaming, avoiding his family, and slipping into long internal monologues. At one point, he mockingly calls himself the top-tier rat person, because at least he has a girlfriend. But shocking isn't just the content of these videos, it's how popular they've become. This genre of low-energy living has eclipsed the hyper-positive vlogs that once dominated Chinese social media. The once revered motivational influencers and superhuman startup founders are being replaced by young people who wear their inertia with pride. No job, no hustle, just existence. The rat people phenomenon has grown so widespread that there are now quizzes and guides on how to identify them. One popular test? Send a photo of a lit light bulb to a friend. If they respond with surprise, or worse, don't respond at all, chances are they're a rat person. Another method? Watch their activity patterns. If they're silent all day but suddenly flood your inbox at 2 a.m., that's a clear sign, or more precisely, a glowing rat tail. Their diet? So minimalist it borders on alarming. Some live on less than 300 yuan a month, under 40 USD. One sandwich a day, instant noodles, tap water. The goal isn't saving money or dieting, it's the rejection of desire itself. One girl documented her entire month of spending, proudly showing how she survived in a major city while barely spending anything. This isn't moderation, this is conscious renunciation. At first glance, this lifestyle seems easy to mock, lazy, aimless, and degenerate, but look closer and you'll see something far more telling. A quiet act of rebellion. These young people aren't lazy, they're exhausted, not physically, but spiritually. They see their future all too clearly. Back-breaking work with no financial security, skyrocketing rent, and a lifetime of labor that still won't earn them a home. Success is measured in hollow metrics, and even rest must now be productive. So they retreat. They stop running on the hamster wheel. They no longer try to compete in a game they know they can't win. They don't dream of becoming CEOs anymore. They just dream of not being tired. Some social critics see this as an extension of China's lying flat, ting ping movement, where young people choose to opt out of the exhausting work culture, but the rat people go even further. This isn't just lying down, this is disappearing into the walls, becoming invisible, untouchable. Ironically, as the young retreat, the elderly surge forward. It's a strange reversal in an increasingly surreal Chinese society. On Chinese video platforms, elderly men and women live stream their workouts, run online businesses, study English, and live with ambition and zest. A 90-year-old grandma went viral with her high-energy vlog schedule, leaving 20-somethings in tears of shame. One meme sums it up perfectly. Grandma's running on Red Bull. I'm 25 and need 2 naps a day. The generational reversal has become so stark that some joke, let the elderly work, let the middle-aged go back to school, and just send the youth straight to retirement homes. So the bigger question is, how did we end up here? Sociologist Hartmut Rosa might offer an answer. In his theory of social acceleration, he argues that modern societies are built on ever-increasing speed, faster communication, faster production, faster living. But as everything accelerates, not everyone can keep up. The rat people are those who've been flung off that spinning wheel, and rather than scramble to jump back on, they've chosen to step out entirely. Their low-energy lifestyle is not merely survival, it is an act of rebellion. A rebellion against productivity culture, against consumerism, against the idea that a human's worth is tied to output. Their delay is not failure, it is resistance. Their stillness and slowness are invisible shields against a system they believe has betrayed them. The real answer lies in a society pushed to the brink. As sociologist Hartmut Rosa argues in his theory of social acceleration, when everything speeds up, from production to expectations, some will inevitably fall off the ride. The rat people are the fallout of unchecked acceleration. They choose to slow down as a form of defiance against consumerism, against performance culture, and against hidden exploitation. They've seen the absurdity of China's 996 work culture, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week, only to afford a rented room and a life of exhaustion. They reject a game they know they cannot win. We may now conclude the middle-aged rat people. Evidence of a crippling economic decline. While many young rat people have chosen invisibility as a form of rebellion, there are hundreds of millions more who have become rat people by force, not by choice. These are not youth seeking escape, these are adults desperately trying to stay afloat, to earn a living for themselves and their families. But when the trade war erupted, the door to opportunity slammed shut. They were once tireless engines of labor. They were the hands that stretched the limits of production. They were the pride of Made in China, the backbone of a nation that held the world in the grip of its supply chains. But today, they are unemployed. No money, no direction, no future. As the lights of the economy go dim, millions of Chinese workers are slipping to the very bottom of society, becoming something new and tragic. Rat people, hidden, desperate, surviving in the very cities that once promised them prosperity. Now, if you walk through any shopping mall, commercial street, or industrial zone in China, you'll witness something chilling. Rows of shuttered storefronts, signs reading "for lease," "clearance sale," or "permanently closed," hanging like death notices for an economy in decline. In Xinan City, the once bustling South Market Night Bazaar, and Hongqiao Bridge Street in Shanghai, places that used to be shoulder to shoulder with crowds now resemble ghost towns. A leather shoe store owner weeps, real leather, factory prices, and still no one can afford them. A restaurant owner sits blankly beside a cold pot of broth. A used car salesman stares at his untouched inventory and sighs. Just a pile of scrap metal now. Not just Wenzhou, not just Sichuan, but from Anhui to Jiangxi, all the way down to 5th and 6th tier counties and towns, a wave of bankruptcies, closures, and mass unemployment is spreading like a contagion. Markets for construction materials, machinery, timber, and consumer goods, once lively and loud, now lie eerily silent. For the first time in 40 years of reform and opening up, the Chinese people may be tasting what true systemic collapse feels like. Businesses are dropping dead on their feet. Factories are clinically lifeless. The harshest blow isn't hitting the mom-and-pop shops, it's striking deeper. At the heart of manufacturing, massive companies with tens of thousands of square meters of factory space, once home to multi-million yuan production lines, have become graveyards of machinery. Rusted CNC machines, dust-covered plastic molding units, and abandoned 3D printers now sell for scrap. The owner of an aluminum door factory in Sichuan broke down. Last year we had 30,000 orders a month. This year, I can't even get one. The situation has become so widespread that even labor brokers, once the middlemen in high demand, are now being pushed out. A man in Anhui put it bluntly, "It used to be harder to find workers than to find gold. Now companies can't even pay wages. They're cutting hours, suspending operations, and shutting down for good." Why? There are many reasons. The US-China trade war has driven export tariffs up by as much as 245%. Domestic demand is saturated, consumer spending has plummeted, and faith in the future has evaporated. But the deeper issue runs further still. China's old growth model has reached its limit. No more growth at any cost, no more endless exports, and most critically, no more consumer confidence to drive the engine forward. As mentioned above, youth unemployment from the Chinese dream to the dream on a bed. Never before has a country with over 30 million university graduates each year faced such a stark reality. A surplus of educated labor, but a shortage of actual jobs. Companies aren't hiring. Factories are shutting down. The national average salary has dropped to just 2,300 yuan per month. The young people who once dreamed of starting businesses, changing their lives, buying homes and getting married now lie still like the walking dead. From this despair, a new term has emerged on Chinese social media: rat people. Who are they? Among the youth, they are men and women between the ages of 22 and 26, unemployed, disoriented, and adrift. They sleep by day, stay awake at night, and don't leave their cramped rented rooms for days. They survive on instant noodles, scroll through their phones, binge videos, and have lost all faith in the future. They shun friendships, shun society, fear interaction, fear responsibility, and even fear sunlight. This is no longer a fleeting trend. It's the psychological fallout of an entire generation that has been abandoned. No more striving, no more upward momentum, no more belief in society. All that remains is survival instinct, like rats living quietly in the cracks, avoiding the light and the noise. And there are also the reluctant rat people, the ones in middle age. These are the bankrupt business owners, the once proud entrepreneurs who went from dragons to insects. Today, an entire generation of small and medium-sized business owners, people who once built their dreams on an unshakable faith in China, is collapsing, one by one. One man, born in 1985, shared his story. He once owned 2 karaoke bars, then launched an electronics company, a 3D printing workshop, and an e-commerce firm. At his peak, he held assets worth tens of millions of yuan. Now, he's drowning in debt, broke, forced to sell everything, from machinery to factory space. When I was young, I thought I was a dragon. Turns out, I was just a worm. I'm completely lost. Many of them have lost more than just money. They've lost their families, their dignity, their health. Some had their buildings sealed off by authorities. Others faced prosecution for unpaid business loans. Some chose to vanish and live like rat people, hiding in the shadows. Or, in the worst cases, chose death. It's a heartbreaking reality. For the Chinese people, they are now trapped in a deadly downward spiral. Unemployment, medical release, reduced consumption, medical collapse. The biggest problem is that everyone is stuck in this vicious loop. People no longer dare to spend because they've lost confidence in their assets, especially as the real estate market crashes. Businesses, facing a drought of orders, are forced to slash wages, lay off workers, or shut down entirely. Hookers, now jobless or underpaid, pull back even further on spending. The result? The economy can't recover. Everything just keeps sliding downhill. Many once cheered as housing prices began to fall, thinking they'd finally have a shot at owning a home. But, as one resident bitterly put it, if housing drops to 2,000 yuan per square meter, you'll have already lost your job and your income there's nothing left to dream about. That is the brutal truth. Without real economic growth, all assets become worthless, and what society is witnessing now isn't just the collapse of the property market, it's the collapse of trust. So then comes the question, who will take responsibility? The answer? No one. Policies flip like pages in a book. One day the government encourages investment and factory expansion. The next, it cracks down on environmental violations, cuts electricity, and tightens taxes. Today, banks hand out loans like tea. Tomorrow they slap lawsuits and debt collection orders. No one is held accountable for the destruction. No one admits fault. And those at the bottom of the population pyramid, young people, workers, small business owners, and entrepreneurs, are the ones left to suffer. Added to the tragedy, the world now sees rat people across China. The term was once used to describe the Hong Kong poor, those forced to live in underground pipes because they couldn't afford rent. But now, a new generation of rat people is emerging in mainland China's modern cities, not because they lack housing, but because they lack jobs, hope, and any belief in tomorrow. They are not useless. They were once bright students, diligent workers, ambitious shopkeepers, but they've been pushed to the edge. And when an entire system begins to crack, the existence of the rat people is no longer just a social phenomenon. It becomes a damning indictment of an economy rotting from within.